class, we will discuss the test planning. What are the areas and what are the things you need to cover in test planning? What is a test plan? Defining the test plan and how you can make a test plan. So test plan should define the optimum process of validating that the software is fit for purpose and meets the requirements. To help meet these objectives, consider the following. So whenever you make a test plan, you need to keep the testing objectives and the purpose of the software in your mind. Why you are building this product, how the end users are going to use, and what are the actions you are going to perform. You need to keep this in mind when you start preparing a test plan. So in test plan, in the project test plan, you need to cover business objectives. As a result, you need to make sure the business objectives are met. What are the objectives the business have? You need to have a list and you need to tick them when you are preparing for a test plan and when you are making a test plan. Time scale. Is this a constraint? How much time you are going to take to build the product and release to the end user so the end users can start using it? Is it 6 months time, 1 year time? How much time you have, how much resources you have? The time scale you need to keep in your mind. Market forces, competition and time to market. If you are building the product, you are developing a product to sell as off-the-shelf software, you need to ensure or you need to keep in mind the competitors you have and the quality of the products they are providing to the clients. How much time you have when you are selling a product, how much time you have until you start marketing the product. Benefits. What will the business gain? When you build a new product, when you develop a new product and you release it to the end users for the business purposes, as a result, what the business is going to gain, you need to keep in mind. Is it going to help the business to prosper the business, or it is going to the other stuff? User needs, the real user requirements. As an end user, how the end user is going to use the product. So you need to keep in mind how the end user is going to perform the activities, how the end user is going to perform the tasks it has to perform. The resources you have available, the tools you are going to use, the resources, how many employees you are having, the scope. What are the scope you have for the testing? What are the out of scope as well? When you need to keep these things in mind when you prepare a test plan. You also need to consider other areas like functional requirements. What are the functional requirements you are going to cover in the product? Use cases, how will the software be used? What are the processes you have? How the end user is going to use the product? Features, an excellent building block for a test case specification. What are the features you are going to cover in the product? Performance in a realistic business terms. What is your performance expectations? How many users are going to log in? How many users are going to use the software at the same time, and how long? You need to keep these all in mind when you prepare a test plan. You also need to consider non-functional requirements. Functional requirements are important because they perform the business task, but at the same time non-functional requirements also should be considered when you prepare a test plan, like usability standards of the product you are building. Environment, can you build the same in test? What are the test environment, what are the production environment? Data, underlying source of it, what are the test data you are going to use? Compatibility, other systems and interfaces. Is your system compatible with other systems? Are you going to integrate the particular systems with other systems? You need to keep in mind when you prepare a test plan. Design with testing in mind. How testing would be carrying on, you need to keep in mind. It is not just you make a plan and the testers are unable to achieve those plans. So you need to keep these as well. What are the techniques you are going to use in test case design and how the testing will be carrying on. Risk, which are the key system functions. You also need to keep in mind the key functions the software is going to perform. At the same time, you need to keep in mind the testers' actions like test case design. How testers are going to use test cases. What are the techniques they are going to use when they design the test cases. Data, background and scenarios. How the testers are going to build the test data and the scenarios they are going to cover. Positive and negative test cases. Are the testers going to write or carry on positive testing and negative testing or error handling? The test scenarios the testers are going to cover. Testing each requirement, and for each requirement the scenarios the developers, the testers have. How much time it will take to design the particular test case for a particular requirement. We need to keep this one in mind. Process steps. Depending on time and tester knowledge, detailed instructions. What are the processes available? How we are going to perform testing? We need to keep this in mind when we prepare the test plan. User flexibility. Expectation, the correct results. What are the expectations we have of testing? When we design the test cases as a tester, we need to find out what is our expected result from the requirements. At the same time, these could be used or this should be used preparing the test plan. Verification items. What are the items as a tester we are going to verify? How we are going to verify? How to confirm the correct result? Is this particular requirement testable or not testable? And how the result will be verified for those things should be kept in mind as well. System. The exact system we are testing. The scope for the system. The complexity of the system. How much time it is going to take. Automation. How much automation we are going to do and how. This should be kept in mind. What are the features we are going to automate and what are the features we cannot automate, and as a result we have to do manual testing, or how much manual testing we will perform first, and what are the specific areas we are going to select for automation. Risk. What are the risks we have when we carry on testing? What are the risks the product has? We have to keep in mind. As for example, if it is an internal system and it is not available outside and it is a standalone system, then it will have less risk. If it is a web-based system, it will have more risk. If it is even standalone system, as in how it is going to impact the end users, that also risk we have to keep in mind. This should be all applied for unit testing, system testing, user acceptance testing and other testing areas when we prepare a test